Yo, what's up, Doc? This is Eminem, and I know I've been inactive recently, but as you guys can tell, the audio in this video doesn't sound as good as it used to. This room I'm in has a lot more echo, and I've been trying to find out ways to make the sound better, but everything that I've tried so far hasn't really worked as well as I thought it would, so the audio is just gonna sound a bit more echoey until I get this issue sorted out, but for now, let's shine into the news. Now, I know I'm very late on covering this, but it's gonna be related to what I'm gonna cover next, so if you guys haven't already heard, the Smashbox has been announced, and the Kickstarter for it is up, and so far, they raised around $44,000, and they're about $6,000 away from reaching their goal of 50k. But I'm expecting that they will not reach their goal, and even people may revoke their pledge because of what I'm about to cover next. Now, the reason why I'm making such a bold statement is because Hax made a video yesterday talking about the scummy things that Hitbox LLC, which are the creators of the Smashbox, did to Hax, and we're going to do the people who paid for the Smashbox and the Smash community as a whole. So in Hax's recent video titled "The Truth About Smashbox," he explains how the people behind the Smashbox are only in it for the money, and how the Smashbox isn't even an ergonomical controller. Not only that, but they also tried to plagiarize Hax's rendition of an arcade style controller for Smash known as the Box. But it doesn't stop there. There are also other shady business practices that Hitbox LLC did, but I'll let Hax speak for himself. So I took the 30-minute video that he uploaded and I condensed it into a 10-minute version, and if you guys want to watch the full version, links to it in the description, and let my boy Hax speak.
Hey guys, it's Hax. In this video I want to go over my involvement with the Smashbox team, how that relationship got soiled, and why the box was a very necessary thing, not just for my ability to play Smash again, but for those interested in this type of product. I will always stand by every move I made to get here, as without me and the box team, the consumer would be pigeonholed into buying an incomplete product from a company that is only interested in your money. The Smashbox team has had the audacity to publicly accuse me of only caring about myself and money. I want you all to know that the main reason I don't stream is that I don't feel right about the amount of money streaming yields. Please take that into consideration if you doubt my intentions. This video will prove that I took the absolute most moral route possible with the Smashbox team. For 2 weeks, I R&D'd their product for 15 hours a day, constantly providing feedback about improvements that needed to be made. Some of these improvements were so blatantly obvious that most people would suggest them within minutes of using the controller, which is why it means nothing when they say they've been working on this controller for 6 years. Without fail, every single suggestion I made was shot down. Over the course of these 2 weeks, it became clear that the Smashbox team had neither the means nor the intent to change their product. In fact, there was an eagerness to rush a product that they were well aware had tons of flaws, as they likely knew that the fad of an ergonomic controller alone would sell. I'll say it right now, until the Smashbox improves their product, their current iteration is neither an ergonomic controller nor a viable controller for Melee. It is in fact executed so poorly that selling it verges on being a scam. Any top player who has used it will tell you this. One of the very first concerns I raised was the rectangular 2x4 shape of the top right buttons on the Smashbox. Arcade Pad Design 101 teaches you to arrange these buttons in a way that is shaped for the human hand. I had in fact never seen an arcade pad designed with a perfect rectangle before. For a controller that was supposed to be ergonomic, I was very concerned, and I stressed this to the group. Furthermore, Cactuar and I had talked in private about moving one of the shield triggers to the left hand as well. Imagine playing Melee with shield and wave dash on the same side of the controller. It doesn't take much to realize that this is a bad idea. Things like wave dash out of shield and shine out of shield were very ergonomic. Picture doing those things on this controller while having to hold down your right ring finger. Both would feel much better if this finger was freed up. In particular, I could tell you without even playing on the Smashbox that the Z button needed to be moved. It was on another planet. Jump cancel grabbing would feel terrible, for one. You're assigning a one-frame link to your ring and pinky fingers. Secondly, you probably lose frames initiating it because your right hand is mostly stationed on the top row of buttons. Many things chain from the jump button in Melee, and since Y is your primary jump button on this layout, you tend to station your right hand on the top row. This is also very awkward when you consider the fact that your left hand is stationed on the bottom row. How the hell had Gravy been playing on this thing for months without making sure obvious changes like these went through? What was his job as their sponsored player? The answer, which will become clearer as I continue, is that none of the people I was working with actually gave a fuck about how good the product was. Nonetheless, I stressed to Dustin that he shouldn't rush the product. I was told that it is very far in development, and that I should have an open mind with the layout as I've made it too. Minutes later, on the very same night, yet another major flaw occurred to me. Nairing on this controller was terrible. The A button was directly under the Y button, which would force you to have your fingers positioned like this to do quick nairs with low jump squat characters. Needless to say, there are better ways to do this. Cactuar, who had already used a Smashbox, confirmed that this motion was in fact terrible. I brought this up to Dustin, at which point I was told that the straight layout is comfortable for doing this. It was at this point that I began to realize how detrimental it was to the product for its lead designer to be someone with zero Melee experience. I have 12 years of competitive Melee experience, yet I was repeatedly being shot down by someone who doesn't play the game. At this point I was beginning to dislike the predicament I was in. I expressed this to Gravy that same night. He said, "Your input is most important for Melee community support," to which I told him, I know, but I want the first run of boxes to be good. I don't want an improved version to be released shortly after the first run. Furthermore, I was not okay with this product being sold to Smashers. As I said in the intro, the concept of the Smashbox is revolutionary, and something our game has needed for a long time. It was, in my opinion, very immoral to sell something executed this poorly just by riding off of that hype. On December 24th, I received my Smashbox in the mail, and I got to work right away. Within an hour of usage, there was a major ergonomic concern. Take a look at this image of someone multi-shining on the Smashbox reveal video. This is an extremely unergonomic posture. The index finger has to bend at an almost 90-degree angle, which causes shock to be sent up and through the two knuckles of the index finger, causing strain within 5 to 10 minutes of repetition. Considering I was led to believe this was an ergonomic controller, I actually began to think I had arthritis in these joints as well, and that was what was responsible for the strain. Over the next 2 weeks, the strain I would build up in this finger from playing on the Smashbox began to last for days at a time. I would continually take ibuprofen just to let me play for longer. The strain I was having was due to the Smashbox's layout. It should not have been happening. By the next day, I had played on the Smashbox enough to know that this product absolutely could not be sold in its current iteration. From both ergonomic and functional standpoints, this controller was a tragedy. Quick nairs were a nightmare, and they also awkwardly felt different from doing the rest of your aerials. The Z button wasn't viable. I in fact didn't even bother to use it while I was learning the Smashbox. It not only felt terrible, but you blatantly lost so many frames doing a jump cancelled grab from there. Shield tilt was a button I knew could be implemented in a much better way. In general, it wasn't viable to operate shield with the right hand. Motions like shine out of shield followed by wave dash felt like they clearly had not been tested. Over time, out of shield options would give me very painful jolts that would shoot up my ring finger. I brought these things up with Dustin, and this was when catastrophe struck. Dustin told me that significant changes and gigantic changes will push the product back by at least 6 months and require a huge marketing effort to go alongside it. The current design has been the way it has for years at this point. Immediately, I took a closer look at my faceplate. It was, in fact, drilled on. This box was no good for prototyping faceplate changes. The Smashbox team was insane enough to think that they were going to nail the design of this product on the first go, and they had lined up factories to produce this faceplate. Their current design had also been the way it has for years at this point, meaning no effort was being made to improve the product. Dustin also said that these factories would somehow take 6 months to change the faceplate if needed, which is a complete lie. I asked him if he was even able to simulate other layouts or if I was just wasting my time. He told me that we can using printable button layouts. It turned out that they had used cardboard boxes that they had hand-cut holes into to design their product. I can tell you that the Smashbox team is completely insane for not having access to a laser cutter, which is an absolutely necessary tool for R&Ding something like this. Ever since the box team was founded, we've gone through at least 50 laser cut faceplates, sometimes spending days at a time theory crafting to optimize the functionality of a single button. Some faceplates were made just to move buttons by a fraction of a millimeter. No such effort was ever put in by the Smashbox team, and you should not be deceived by their claim that they've been working on the Smashbox for 6 years. Over the course of the final 10 days, I sent notepad drawings, MS Paint drawings, YouTube videos, and explanations detailing changes the Smashbox needed. Dustin was often impossible to reach. I would sometimes wait until past midnight to get in touch with him, but I dealt with it. I would eventually learn that these efforts were futile, and that Hitbox was dead set on selling their current layout. As time went on, Dustin continually lied to me about wanting the Smashbox to be as good as it could be. I realized that this inherently could not be true, considering he repeatedly used the terms first run or first iteration, implying that Smashbox would have upgraded versions in the future. It is morally okay to plan on upgrading your product in the future, but it is not morally okay to be aware of this many major flaws in your product that can easily be fixed and still release the flawed product. You're basically double dipping your profits by doing this and selling a knowingly inferior product to people. It doesn't matter if negligent decisions, such as securing factories or not having access to a laser cutter, led you to this situation. The end results are the same. Someone like me could have easily been reached out to a long time ago to help you with your product's design. Unfortunately, you will eventually learn that the Smashbox team not only made negligent decisions, but that they are a company with bad intent. A week passes and I have my surgery on December 28th, but even after surgery, I continue to use the Smashbox 10 to 15 hours a day. A lot of the same stuff happens. I make suggestions and they quickly get shot down. On January 4th, I had a Skype call with Gravy and Dr. Biscuits that made me want to tear my hair out. Let me clarify that Dr. Biscuits is not an ergonomics expert. If she's an ergonomics expert, then I'm a fucking rocket scientist because I know about as much about building a spaceship as she does about ergonomics. For one, she allowed for the 2x4 rectangular design to go through, which should say enough. But during this call, she repeatedly shoots down designs I sent over, saying that the index finger does too much work. These designs were objective ergonomic improvements over the Smashbox that actually reduced the amount of work the index finger did. While they weren't as good as the designs I eventually came up with for the box, they were a huge leap towards being pain-free, as they should be. The Smashbox team had no intention of changing their product, which I would learn for a fact the next day. On January 5th, both Gravy and Dustin made it clear to me that the product needed to be released. This was the last straw for me. These people were only in it for the money. All they wanted to do was sell a defective product with a huge hype train behind it and cash out on the Smash community. People looking to solve their ergonomic problems with this controller were shit out of luck. Same deal for anyone who thought they'd reach a high level of play with the Smashbox. It was too much to ask for these guys to make a simple faceplate change that would have made their product light years more viable. I have, in all truth, never seen a company have this level of disregard for customer satisfaction in my life. I explained to Gravy why I left. I say, really though, please don't try to act like you're the ethical ones when you quite literally had a business plan that involved releasing Model 1 with the knowledge that a Model 2 was in development and on its way. That combined with you calling me scum for optimizing the product really makes me wonder if you guys ever wanted what's good for the community or if this was just a quick cash in. Think about that for a second. There really only is one motive for Gravy, a high-level player looking to use this type of product, being so against someone looking to optimize it. Money. Furthermore, Gravy threatens to beat the shit out of me. Hitbox is content with releasing a knowingly incomplete product. In addition, they explicitly wanted to make a superior product unavailable to customers so that they could sell an inferior one. It stands to reason that had we obliged to delay our Kickstarter, the original iteration of the Smashbox would have been produced, but only because we did not oblige, the Smashbox team is being forced to improve their product. On March 2nd at the summit, a certain person walks up to me on the first day and tells me that Gravy wants them to take pictures of the box as well as learn more about its functionality, and that they're torn about it. Now, I respect this person for coming clean about this. I don't know if the pictures were ever actually taken, though I don't think they were, because at Frame Perfect 2, Gravy showed up with a certain design layout that I've seen somewhere before. Take a look at these pictures. Now, let's rotate them. This is the outdated box layout I revealed on January 19th. Now, take a look at the last layout I provided Gravy with on January 4th. This is the layout I was pushing at the time, which Gravy liked. Back before Box happened, this presumably would have been what they used on the second run of their product, as the first run was lined up for production and simply wasn't changing. So how did Gravy end up with a layout that looks exactly like the one I showed on January 19th at Frame Perfect 2? The answer is, the Smashbox team is directly looking to copy the most recent layouts I come up with, and had they gotten a hold of the one I was using at Summit, Gravy would have shown up to Frame Perfect 2 with a replica of it. Now that I consider this, it is such a coincidence that the box I was playing with at the Summit was never actually shown publicly. In fact, there's no doubt in my mind that had Smashbox gotten a hold of the layout I was using at Summit, and had Gravy shown up to Frame Perfect 2 with it, they would have tried to claim that it was theirs. Well, here's the layout, you fucking frauds. This also perfectly explains why Smashbox's Kickstarter reveal video still shows the original Smashbox, which Gravy isn't even currently playing on, and promises that the Smashbox is still a product in development, saying that the final version will look and function different than the product as seen in photos and videos. Keep in mind that there were absolutely no plans to change anything until I got involved. I inadvertently forced Hitbox to release a good product, and for that I have no regrets, as I was not okay with what would have happened otherwise. I do want to address some final allegations made at the end of the article, made by someone named Tom Passarelli. This claim states that Hax had a pretty adamant desire to abstain from entering the legality conversation in the hopes of forcing a recall on Hitbox in the future, with a video criticizing its functionality, suggesting it ought to be banned. Yes, this is true. We had found a feature in the Smashbox's coding that we believed to be bannable, and I advocated not telling them about it. It is not my responsibility to disclose trade secrets to a competing party, especially one that has expressed the intent of plagiarizing my advancements. Tom Passarelli deliberately contacted me in private to tell me that we ought to get rid of my engineers, as they are expendable college students, while contacting my engineers in private and telling them to get rid of Hax, as we can get any other top player to be the box's mascot. Tom Passarelli saw the box as a profitable business endeavor and presumably wanted to take charge of the project in order to secure the largest cut possible. This plan was painfully transparent. I'll be the first one to admit that the box never should have had to happen. The box was necessary as a result of the negligence and greed of another company who held a lot of power in the form of a revolutionary idea for our game. Take my actions as you will, but I was not willing to let Hitbox scam the Smash community. I implore you to support the box, as every move we have made has been with the intent of protecting the consumer.
Now, just before I close out, I just wanted to let you guys know that I made a Discord, and if you guys want to join and play games with me like H1Z1 or Netplay, or just any other game in general with me or other Smashers, links to the Discord is going to be in the description. Now, that's pretty much going to be it for today's video, guys. And if you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new for more Melee news. And it's been your boy, Eminem, and I'm signing out. Peace.